something a little bit different today. I asked the community what weapons they want to take into the Edge of Fate expansion. This can be because of reasons like artifact support, maybe a exotic has been buffed which is relevant to them, or it's just things they like or think will be potent going forwards. This is part of the ongoing emblem giveaway, which is still running up until this Friday. So if you want a chance to win, you can also join the Discord and post your favourite weapon here too. Here's some of the weapons we got. So first up, Judgement. I can definitely see this because it has good status synergy with a lot of the upcoming artifact mods. Fever and Chill will give you frost armor just for landing precision hits, with hand cannons being a very good precision weapon. If you have frost armor, you can also get Frigid Glare. This will make any precision kill freeze all nearby enemies. You get frozen enemies alongside Headstone, with Rhyme Stealer as well. You're going to be maxed out frost armor, you're going to be shattering enemies everywhere. Really good option. This or Bold Endings V2 burst hand cannon are very good stasis choices, especially because hand cannons being a naturally precision based weapon synergize with a lot of these mods very well. Next, the Necrochasm. This here is because of the Actium Warrig buff. These are getting their own unique stacking damage buff to auto rifles, kind of like how Wormgods functions now. The more auto rifle kills you get, the bigger the damage boost. Necrochasm, and I'd say also Kvostov, are like V2 really good auto rifles right now. Necrochasm being the more AoE high damage option. If you just want to shred through enemies, with this new Actium Warrig, this will be a fantastic choice. So next up, the new Beyblade exotic Final Warning, and yep, this will absolutely be the new Beyblade exotic, I have no doubt. So the Unraveling Rounds is going away, but for Final Warning this doesn't matter, because any shot applied from this will unravel. This will of course make Tangles off cooldown straight away, which can be used with the Hunter exotic to duplicate Tangles and have Beyblade spinning everywhere. There's also just generic strand synergy here. Threaded Blast makes the Tangles even better, when you got Tangled Web, Tightly Woven, even Shield Crush to an extent, making your whole strand kit much better. Also for this and the next weapon Peace Bond, I will say this applies to both. There's a mod here, Reciprocation. If you get final blows of other weapons and then pull out a sidearm, they will have a damage buff unique to them, which just overall improves their usage across the board. And on this Peace Bond here, this is also a very interesting role. Headstone Desperado. Very crit reliant I will say, but if you can hit your crits with this, I could see it really tearing through enemies quite quickly. You get a lot of headstone procs, and it would be a very nice thing to have. It said here with the stasis mods, absolutely. There's so much stasis support, a lot of frost armor type stuff which relies on crits to get anyway, so a crit weapon here, good pairing. These next two are very much so powerhouse weapons, and are the final featured element type Solar. Solar weapons might be the best of the bunch this season, because their half of Fever and Chill is probably better. Whereas stasis weapons will get frost armor, solar weapons will be getting radiant for just landing crits. Polaris is, obviously crit based. Lord of Wolves will probably actually proc this very quickly as well, because on its hip fire mode you just spam crits, very rapid, you'll get radiant very quickly. Obviously these are just very good options right now, and the mods will make them even better. Psychopomp, which I assume quite a lot of people are using right now because it is a very strong option, is looking to be very good going forwards too. So Prismatic Warlock has the slide melee effect v Lightning Surge, which is very good. It's kind of a budget Consecration, right? But Consecration's getting nerfed. This one isn't. So it might end up being the other way around, where if you want a slide melee spam build, Warlock is the best option, and Psychopomp really enables this. Dicey's put out some very good points here. Pugilist is giving you melee energy every kill. Rolling Storm for Bolt Charge, which is really good by itself, just because these Aerodynal frames get Bolt Charge stacks very quickly, but also every Bolt Charge stack you get will give you melee energy returns. Also there's Ionic Tracers, which are the best elemental pickup, and there's also the King's Fall Origin trait, which can effectively give you a double mag size all the time, as long as you have teammates nearby. Yeah, this with either Arc subclass or Prismatic. I think Prismatic might be the best option. It is going to go really hard. This facet balance here will make it so that any enemy affected by a darkness debuff will take now 50% increased damage from any charged melee. So on this solar buff, Adhortative really makes a lot of use from it. Fever and Chill will be very easiest thing, landing crits, but Incandescent, which this has, is also one of those perks which is getting a bit of help. Radiant Shrapnel will allow any weapon hit by either radiant damage or scorched to basically give off even more solar projectiles which go on to inflict more scorch. This is basically just a second layer of Incandescent, so any weapon kind of like this which heavily leans into solar synergy effects is kind of going to go insane. This Unworthy here, the role of Firefly and Volt Shot is something I've been chasing for so long and still don't have, just because this thing is so good by itself. Firefly does damage in AoE as well as being a reload perk technically, whereas Volt Shot, as we know, is just a really good elemental effect. Unworthy also has an inbuilt explosive payload which is very good for scouts, and while this isn't actually a featured like element type, scouts are kind of featured in their own way. So there's rapid precision rifling which gives scouts reload speed and flinch resist for just hitting crits, so no doubt this will reach a reload cap very quickly. Then stuff like shoulder to shoulder where just dealing precision damage while near allies will give you damage resist. This weapon will probably fit that criteria quite often too. Tarrabah they say is a copium pick, but this is going to be very strong. We've listed the synergies here and I agree completely. So Overload SMG, quite nice. Fever and Chill I've mentioned, but the good thing about Fever and Chill is it's crit based, so things which can spam crits very quickly, this being probably the best example, will get the Radiant going very quick. Then there's Elemental Daze, where if you stun Overload champions with this, it will release a scorching explosion from them. And then there's Radiant Shrapnel, which we've covered, where if you're doing radiant damage, which this will always be radiant, you're also just going to be scorching targets over time. With Ravenous Beast as well, this weapon just really does work. It will instantly melt red bars, it will tear through champions too, and if you're using it with Peacekeepers, you can even use this as a boss DPS weapon. So yeah, Tarrabah, very good. A sudden death, it said here the role they want is 1-2 punch with Trench Barrel. There is a few posts they've run with this exact same role, people really want this thing, and it's for good reason. Melee builds are probably going to be different in a lot of ways in terms of which ones are the best options, but the best options will be extremely potent. Worm Gods is going up to a 400% buff, as is Combination Blow, and there's a whole other host of things getting changed. I believe that the Grapple Spam Hunter is getting the highest melee multiplier we've ever seen, even with it being additive. So having this shotgun, which is all melee based, will be a very helpful thing to have, and it's farmable right now from Prophecy. Here we have a weapon which is very much tailored for endgame content, and with the ability to make any activity as difficult as you want, something like this could be very helpful. So Kinetic Tremors will only activate if a target's kind of beefy enough to take the 5 shots needed to activate the perk, and then that tremor might go on to tag nearby enemies, activating one for all. Being a scout rifle, it is quite safe to use, especially in activities like GMs, and being a kinetic weapon, there is actually a few buffs coming for this too. There's an armor set making kinetic weapons deal more damage to overshields, and breaking shields of them will release more kinetic tremors. So yeah, for a GM, which is definitely what this thing's focused for, a very solid choice. A sudden death, more love for this weapon. This is the same combination that this person actually got, like the Giga Juiced God Roll here. We got the God Roll of 1-2 punch and Trench Barrel, so they're already set and ready to go. Finality's Auger is going to be incredible. This, I think, does best in a Bolt Charge Titan setup, which is a bit artifact reliant this season, but they have also kind of made the artifact, at least some parts of it, into an exotic. So Alpha Loopy will now heal you and allies upon dealing sustained damage while behind a barricade. Obviously, we already know how this goes. Using Auger, especially for alongside like an area denial frame or just your other weapons, will repeatedly proc bolt charges throughout the barricade's duration. It's actually really good DPS just because of the sheer amount of stuff going on. But also this large amount of hits is going to continually proc Alpha Loopy, healing you and your fire team, which probably makes this like a almost required day one setup. You can use this alongside a well or any other survivability options you have. With what it does is provide healing over time and very good sustained damage. Queenbreaker might seem like an obvious choice, but it's a very important thing to note. As I said, Queenbreaker isn't getting any nerfs, it's still going to be the easiest damage out of there. We are losing particle reconstruction, but that doesn't matter, it's still great. In things like the day 1 raid, having something like this where you don't have to think about what you're going to do for DPS is so critical because it makes DPS brain dead so you can focus on other parts of the encounter. If you're going into a DPS phase where you're thinking, okay, I need Verity stacks, I need combination blow stacks, I need this, that and the other, that can cause a lot of problems if the encounter itself is already quite difficult. If a boss in the contest mode raid can be defeated in 3 phases, just shooting it with Queenbreaker, just use Queenbreaker. You're saving yourself a lot of hassle, you can focus on all the other parts of the raid encounter, and it's just fine. Use something like this and you will be good. Okay, Reckless Oracle. This is not one of the featured types, but it does have the best elemental perk in the game. As I've said here, volatile rounds won't be as easy to get as they are now, but destabilizing rounds is just so good. Not only do you get that volatile burst, but you are just basically giving yourself volatile rounds over and over and over again. And this has it in the 3rd column, so you can pair it with a damage perk. Here they've used Paracausal Affinity. You could still pair this with Repulsor Brace if you want the survivability. I think there's one for all as well. But any of these options is really good. And on just very good primary weapons, Zaouli's Bane is that for solar. If you want a good solar option to pair with Fever and Chill and all the other kind of solar effects, especially Radiant Shrapnel because there's a lot of Scorch going on here, Zaouli's Bane is the one. This is probably another weapon a lot of people have in their collections, probably quite often used as well, and this season just suits it perfectly. Okay, now this one, they've got a bit of a description for, and I will read this out verbatim because this could actually be peak. Reprisals this episode are objectively and conclusively deemed as steaming hot pieces of garbage. However, with the upcoming stat system rework, as we know, mobility will be converted into the weapon stat, which not only buffs weapons damage, but also adds reload and handling, meaning the origin trait on its own is capable of giving you as much as 50 additional weapon stat points, in addition to being a budget version of Enlightened Action. The best part is, this origin trait works even after being stowed for a short duration, which allows the user to potentially abuse a weapon damage buff on their heavy weapon during a damage rotation, all for just 2 hits on any enemy. Although everything I say sounds cool, and we all cannot really know if this is an oversight from Bungie, or a deliberate way of future-proofing the weapons given how strongly they're leaning into origin trait potency within the Edge of Fate. Either way, I would not be sleeping on it, and recommend everyone to farm out a good roll in case it's actually good come next expansion. And so yeah, this origin trait found on the reprised weapons Paracausal Fluids give plus 50 mobility and handling upon just dealing 2 hits. If this converts to plus 50 weapons after the change, amazing. Especially when you don't have like the perfect armor yet. If you can just get to 150 weapons and use this as your final 50, then you have that maxed out boss damage for your heavy options. Of course, these reprised weapons are very mediocre by themselves, at least this one's stasis and that's headstone I suppose, but like, they need this to really be worth using. If it does work out that this gives plus 50 weapons, absolutely worth a consideration. Luna's Howl is the other side of Zaouli's Bane, your trading Gao explosive payload for heal clip. Both these options are just S+ tier perks. But if you want the survivability, this one has heal clip, whereas Zaouli's doesn't. This also does have the Indomitability origin trait, which does help with ability spam quite a bit. Okay, Critical Anomaly. This thing can be, and probably will be, a very powerful option. This hasn't been used at all, I'm pretty sure. Maybe a few people have, but I've never seen it. The important thing to note about this weapon is its base mag size is 3. So Fever and Chill, it will give you a stack of Frost Armor every crit. And this also means that you have the ability for Frigid Glare to be active on a single hit too. So every precision hit you get with Critical Anomaly will freeze everything nearby. And this also has chill clip, so if you are taking multiple shots into a higher health target, you'll be freezing with that too. Triple tap is suggested here to help out with a low mag size, which I think could be good, or you could build into more damage with Chaos Reshaped. Here's another mention of sudden death. Again, 1-2 punch trench barrel, the big punchy shotgun. People really like this thing for good reason. Make sure you have this. Here's another weapon with a lot of things about it all listed and is worth going into. So Veiled Threat is listed here, is a 720 auto that can get attrition orbs or shoot to loot. With how good abilities are, primary weapons with utility perks are often the better choice, because why would you use primary weapons to plink down enemies when you can just press a consecration button? But this offers a lot more on top of that as well. The origin trait Radiolaria Transposer is really good, and this might actually work with these utility perks, either picking up ammo in a larger radius, or providing more hits counting towards attrition orbs. As a stasis weapon with other stasis synergy, we've listed here Whisper of Rending. This is a good one because it makes primary weapons do more damage to crystals or frozen enemies. And yeah, again, this will benefit from Actium buffs. How Peacekeepers has completely changed SMGs from honestly quite bad to one of the better weapon archetypes, Actium might do this for auto rifles. Speedloader Slacks is a weapon which isn't even a weapon, but this thing will do really good next season. It's got a complete rework. It gives you potentially very low cooldown dodges to a point where you can just spam them over and over, and during this time, you will have maxed out handling and reload, this effect shared to your team. It's not a weapon. Ryan. Okay, Parabellum, this is one here for Fever and Chill, absolutely. Fever and Chill is the best with weapons which can activate it quickly with high rate of fire and a kind of lowish mag. This is the perfect example. Not to mention it has kind of stacked perk pool. This one here, Frenzy Heal Clip, really good. Frenzy is reload and damage in one, which is always something you should look out for. That reload means you can proc Heal Clip very quickly over and over. This is one really good with Peacekeepers, still good enough to use without. Hezen Vengeance goes in the same way as the Queenbreaker. It's really good now, and that is not changing. Apart from this one's also solar. So again, raid bosses, I'm thinking day one here. If you can use this with Galahorn and have a kind of easier to execute rotation, go for it. This is going to do a lot of damage. If it's a kind of 10 to 15 second window and you can get a good rotation and just dump rockets in that time, this will be a good way to go. And it's just the best rocket in the game, something everyone should have in their vaults. And talking of best in game, Tinasha's Mastery. This is just the sidearm people are using all the time right now, and this is one which is actually getting better. Obviously it's stasis, it's got chill clip, it's got all the stasis artifacts we've gone over like 5 times already, so we'll just ignore that. But don't forget there's also reciprocation. So you can get kills with other weapons, pull out Tinasha's Mastery, the greatest thing of all time, and it will do more damage. Like, what? But if you don't have this, I believe Iron Banner is not available at this point, so you might have to wait on it. But if you do have it, you will be using this at some point. No Hesitation is a very unique weapon, well, I guess apart from the strand version, but this is one again for contest mode rates. If you're already being a support type of player, probably Solar Warlock, realistically, this is one you will always want. Even if you're not running it though, have this in your inventory when doing day one. The healing effect you can give to teammates is insane, and without it you'll be losing so much healing. Also, if you are running solar, you can use something like Ember of Benevolence so that whenever you heal teammates, your abilities come back faster. There's so much you can do with this. It's actually a fine weapon just by itself, it deals decent damage, but the healing effect is so necessary. Osteo Striga, this one's a kinetic weapon, but as they want here, it kind of fits into the strand archetype a little bit. There was the Warlock build where you eat your grenade to suspend things, a poison effect from this spreads more poison everywhere, and with strand being better, this build will probably come back. There's also the kinetic buffs of it dealing more damage to shields and having kinetic tremors built in. But with this as well, I feel like submachine guns have been a little bit on the lower damage side recently. So if submachine guns do get a damage boost as a whole, this being one of the better SMGs will really take off. The Slammer here, this is a role I hope everyone's got by now, and if you don't have it, this is one of the things you should probably focus your time on going into the Edge of Fate. So Eager Edge is your just movement option, use this whenever you got to get around everywhere. I'm sure most people have an Eager Edge sword, but this one is better because it also has chill clip. All the stasis synergy stuff, but also double champion stun. if you're doing like Master Lost Sectors, any champion content, any kind of stasis build, or you need to do stuff quickly, the Slammer is just the default option to have. That is not going to change. This will still be something you have in your inventory all the time for good reason. Now, I don't do much PvP, but this looks good to me. I believe you get this from Comp, where you could play a few games per week and focus it from engrams, and you can see this one has 10k Crucible defeats, so it must be good, right? Snapshot opening shot seems solid. If you're a PvP player, definitely get this. They have a Trials memento but don't have it on, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you like PvP, you like snipers, this is something to get. Sunshot, Zaouli's Bane but exotic, but because of that does a lot more damage to red bars. This has Scorch built in as well, so you can still benefit all from that. Kind of like one of those exotic primaries where I don't know what to do, I'll just use Sunshot. That always applies even when Solar isn't in the artifact. So now that it is, this is going to go really hard. Vexcalibur is criminally underrated right now and will be hopefully not the same in the Edge of Fate. Hopefully people are actually going to realise, oh, this is like, you know, the glaives to use all the time. As I've said here, Shield Crush will be easy with this because you can just give yourself an overshield whenever you want. That means that your powered melee will be charging faster and dealing more damage. So obviously you can't use it while you have this out, so swap off for a second, use your powered melee, swap back, big melee build, big damage boost, it will go really hard. But not only that, the enemies this DLC are Fallen and Vex. Vexcalibur does bonus damage to Vex, which is super good. But also, if you stab things, any Vex targets, it will just stagger them, making them completely useless. You can see this on the big chicken Vex things, whatever they're called. Whatever, yeah, you know the chicken guys. If you poke a chicken guy, it will go completely useless and you just keep hitting it. Take out those really annoying enemies with no problem whatsoever. Vexcalibur will be insanely good. Finally, Wicked Implement. This is going to be incredible. I know people always be like, oh, Wicked Implement, I'm not sure. It's, you know, it's a 180 scout and this, that, and the other. But okay, here's what it does. So you're going to get Fever and Chill. You're going to get Frigid Glare. So it's also got Headstone by default. So you get Headstone Crystals, you freeze everything. You get Rapid Frost Armor. You get all the Frost Armor benefits. You get the Scout buff here, where it makes it increase to reload and flinch resist. But that's not it, there's more. So Wicked Implement makes stasis shards. And there's also mods for elemental pickups. Refresh Threads here will give you that ability energy back when you're getting these pickups. Elemental Overdrive will give you weapon damage when you're getting the pickups. And the stasis shards made by Wicked Implement track straight to you even at long range. So it just does everything. This will be one for GMs or any stasis build. It's like the easy option to go for. Maybe finally time you see more Wicked Implement. And that's the lot so far. Again, this is an ongoing thing. So if you'd like to join the emblem giveaway, you can hop into this Discord, post your own weapon. It can be the same as one of these. It can be Speedloader Slacks. It can be whatever you want. And this Friday, the draw for the emblem will be concluded. So best of luck. Thank you for watching.